Fool's journey. Path unseen, lane opens. My name ring bells, barriers sound broken. The pain grows till the veins open. Chosen, no matter how you slice it up. Same quotient, cook all summer. Flame throwing, we all in like fam, just prayed over it. Hands move in the same motion, chain smoking. The wave ocean is, wait, let me start over. Eyes won't blink, I stay woken. How the words so deep or plain spoken. Spitting that raw medicine, insane dosage. The price is way up like a change token. Lyrically, brain lotion, slick, but I ain't boasting. Living these mundane moments, sipping a strange potion. My rhyme's coldest when I stay focused. I pen a poem, leave your brain jolted. Too many fake poses, forgot this king culture. Carry the weight like I got 8 shoulders. My 16 bars is hard, my 32 doing the mostest. Double my inner searching, found the same culprit. Damn. What if I'm limitless though? Yeah, I source metaphors from motherlands. Soon as I think I understand another lands. Wait, come again?
What up? I added some music on here. I think you're hearing some nice violins and stuff as well underneath my voice. It should be really, really low. Hopefully it's not too loud at all. What up, yo? How Billy sees it. This is September 17th. Episode 81? Yeah. How amazing is that? Ooh, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope your day was good. It's 11:50, so people probably asleep on the East Coast at least. You can see in the background, we got some stuff done. Our really good friend, excellent artist, Sakura, she helped us out with this background and helped us organize some imagery and some ornaments, and we had that big blue wall, and she helped sort of place all these things, and she's not done yet, so this is just one day of work. Actually, she crushed it. Very happy to have her as a friend and as a talented interior designer of sorts, but she's an artist of all stripes, man. She just gets it done. What up, yo? What a day. You know, today I had a little bit of felt some anxiety today. I know we all feel anxiety sometimes, don't we? I'm pretty sure we all do, because we're all the same. And I wanted to get on and just kind of like talk about a couple of tips I have for dealing with anxiety. One of the things I deal with a lot, actually. And particularly when, I guess it depends. Sometimes it's anxiety if I know there's something I have to do, or just thinking about something in the past, or I just have some uncertain anxiety. I have no real way to frame it or to kind of place it. It's just there. It's just like a weird pit in the stomach kind of thing, you know? Let me change this music up. Hold up. This is supposed to be the cozy playlist. Let me get to the lo-fi playlist. Let's see what we got in here. What? Why does that sound so bad? Y'all hear that? That sounds crazy. What is that? Oh, the keys are weird. No. We're changing that. We're changing that. Let's go with the meditation playlist. Let's see what we get with this. All right, this is better. This is chill. Yeah, yo. So yeah, dealing with anxiety, yo. I think my first tip is to remember that I don't have the control. I don't have control. I don't have control. We trick ourselves into thinking that we have control. We are logic, story-based, narrative-based creatures, and we trick ourselves into thinking that we have control and that we're making all the decisions. And we tell stories. We have stories like Self-Made Men and stories of these capitalist successes that seem to tell us about individuals doing incredible feats on their own. But those are myths, yo. You don't have any control. You do have control. You have control sometimes. You have control in certain contexts. You have control in a context. You have spaces where you can assert yourself. But by and large, you don't have control. And this is easy to see when you think about how your hair grows. When you think about how your heart pumps blood and how your lungs pump oxygen that it needs, that the body needs. Every cell in your body is engaged in these deeply complex functions to replenish itself and to do what it needs to do. And you're not doing that. You're not consciously doing that. You're not controlling that. If you're looking at me right now, the cones and the rods in your eyes are interpreting light and forming images and shadows and colors for you. And it's helpful to remember that you're not doing that, or you're not consciously actively doing that. It's doing that on its own. It does it for you. If you got a cut, you know, depends on how deep or severe the cut is, but it would heal itself. The skin would start to heal itself. And you didn't do that. You're not doing it. And there's so much more. These are just like, I'm just naming all these functions of the body, but if you can really understand and accept the truth that we are out of control, then that's a great way to get out of an anxious space, at least for me. Tell me if that's helpful for you in the comments, but that helps me a lot. Just like in the body, like I'm saying, that the skin does what it does in the heart and lungs and your arteries and veins and capillaries. Your liver is doing a great bunch of stuff. Your bladder is doing stuff without your conscious control. It's also true that outside of you, a tremendous amount of coordinated actions are occurring that provide you the capacity for life and to enjoy life. This thing we call an ecosystem. The sun, light, the seasons, the rotating earth, the axis, all of these things are, scientists do a calculation of this stuff. They try to tell a story for their purposes about the incredible knife's edge that we all live on. This just the right angle, axis on the planet, that the Earth is just the right distance from the sun. All of these things have to occur, or life wouldn't have been life. This life wouldn't have been life, and you had no role in that. And but you had no role you had no active choice. You had no active decision. There was nothing. There was no choice you had to make that was crucial for all of this stuff to happen. It's just happening, and you're here to enjoy it and to experience it. So you don't have control. The second tip I have to deal with anxiety is I've learned to cut away and understand I try to place the anxiety and understand that I need to be present. I find, at least for myself, most often my anxieties stem from some sort of a past experience that I might be remembering or trying to avoid, or a future experience, an imagination about what the future could be, trying to map that out, trying to make sense of it, trying to have something certain. And it is incredibly helpful and freeing of anxiety for me to notice when I'm doing that, to notice the anxieties that stem from thinking about something, thinking too much about the future. Again, realizing that there's no control, even the best laid plans, especially further and further out. It's helpful to point towards something. It's helpful to look forward. But to always be open to, wherever you arrive was probably going to be a little bit different than what you imagined, right? Just because you didn't have enough information, you couldn't have had enough information. That's not how this works. Is information is always changing. So my task is to be present, and there's these great sayings. I think these are more from the Eastern faiths, but a lot of different faith traditions talk about being present, and they talk about you can contemplate all of the brilliance of the earth and the world, and the cosmos, and come up with great theories and be really brilliant, but then you got to chop wood, and you got to carry water. You have to do the things you got to do in the present. And if you're really good, you can kind of play with all of these, understanding that the present is the focal point. That our concept of everything linear, past, present, future, that is a concept. And I think an even more powerful concept, a more meaningful concept, and an accurate concept is understanding that everything actually stems from the now. And the past stems from the now. Our understanding and our experience of the past stems from the now. You can feel that. You understand that. And certainly our future stems from the now. The choices we make, the way we feel, the way we look at things, the options we see, and the eventual choices we make. And that's the second one, staying present and recognizing even if the choices we make, a lot of the choices we make are deeper than we understand. Again, we have a sense of control. I can tell you a story about a choice I made. I can come up with a logic after the fact and describe a logic to rationalize and justify a set of actions. But more and more, it seems the scientific community is meeting up with the spiritual community to question our basic notions of free will and choice and our sense of control in this experience, you know. So you're free. You're free, son. You're free. Which to me is huge for getting rid of anxiety. The third tip I have is, I've kind of touched on this a little bit, but this speaks directly more to language. It is the narrative I'm holding is not the only narrative. So that's helpful to me because we have these narratives, man. We have these stories that you see people who are pissed off about things all the time. And in a certain context, you can see it and go, man, what's wrong with them? Wow, they're clearly in their heads. But we're all in our heads. You only noticed it because this person, they're at the baby shower, pissed off about something. Some other shit. They clearly don't know how to control their inner experience. Or at that moment, they're showing a frailty, an inability to control their inner experience and to sort of enmesh themselves properly with like the context of the room of this stuff. But I think that all stems from like narratives in the head and things we're going through. It goes back to being present again. And if I'm present, I can actually like take control of my narrative. I can actually pick a narrative that's gonna set me up to be my best self in the moment, whatever that means. It's to be calm, it's to be without stress. The last two are super key and they're kind of like seemingly kind of opposites, but so this one I'll say is seek perspective. Seek perspective. Not only is my narrative not the only narrative, there are other narratives and there are other ways of looking at things. And if you have someone who has your best interest in heart and who's, an intelligent person you can trust and you can seek perspective, you can actually get help seeing that other narrative. Because sometimes you can't just whip up your own other narrative. I've had to develop that ability through successfully noticing the ability to like shed narratives, right? Successfully doing that set me up to notice that I can do it. I can notice how my feelings can change in an instant when I change my narrative. In an instant, right? So seek perspective, trusted perspective. And then I said the opposite would be to meditate. And this is not to seek perspective. This is to go to a place of solitude and just kind of really reflect on the self and on the moment and on the anxiety. I feel like it's also like coming back to the one thing I do have control over, which is myself. But then, not control, the one thing I can really attest to, like these are all linked in, you know? Part of the anxiety over these narratives is that I'm constructing stories that are incomplete from my perspective. The story I have about what's happening around me, again, the future, the past, these are all concepts that I'm holding in my head that produce an anxiety. And coming to meditate pulls me away from all of it, And it puts me in a position to sit quietly with myself and to become comfortable with the stillness of it. And to get a different perspective myself through the solitude. Often it means it helps to be removed from the world, the external world. Be removed from the people that refer to me as Billy. The clients who refer to me as, the graphics artist or the editor. I don't have to be that working person. I don't have to be the son to my mom or the neighbor or the helper and all these other identities that we've given ourselves. And then we kind of like come back to asking, who am I? And asking that question and like allowing the answer to present itself. And really allowing the answer to present it and allowing the anxieties to show up and allowing them to be and accepting them. I used to get these anxieties so much. I'd freeze up. I'd get really tight. And as I got better at that and I wouldn't have these anxieties so much, and then occasionally it would come back and I would get angry at myself. I would get so angry because I felt like the fact that I still have these anxieties is a sign of some kind of like weakness, is a sign that I'm not on a healing journey, or I'm not healed, or I have all this work to do. I need to improve. And over, I'm reminded that these concepts continue to be, those are the concepts that are the blockage, that there is nothing other than the feeling and the self. Again, I'm not the thing that everyone knows me to be. Everyone knows me to be however they know me in different contexts. You know me from like the college years or in work. We play into these things. We reinforce it. We respond to the stimuli of, if my mom calls me, I'm the son. Of course, I respond to that. The bank gives me an email. And I respond to these. The bank refers to me by a number, by a credit score. And people that you can internalize that, and like the credit score becomes very important to you and you have to maintain this thing. But that's not you. That is what the bank, that's how they assess you quickly. And sometimes you have relationships where like your ability to be helpful and useful, that is how they assess you quickly. And that is how that is a space where, you fit in with that, and you are, You can choose to be that, and it's a good thing to be, but that's not you either. And your job isn't you, and your car isn't you. And I think those attachments, I know that those attachments are sources of anxiety. The job of the car, even if you don't have the job of the car, the desire for the job of the car, or pick your thing, pick your external thing. It produces anxiety as we compare ourselves to the desired result. So, meditation, stillness, breathing, noticing my breathing, gives me a chance to pause and shed the weight of the assumptions and the expectations, the labels, the categorizations. And to create my own narrative. So, to recap, when I'm feeling anxious, I do one of these 5 things, or I do all of them. Nice little rotation. Get back in alignment. Get back connected to what is true. First thing I do is I try to remember that I don't have control. Which is hard to do. Which has been hard to do because, especially I'd say, in the 20s, my 20s was heavy on I'm the only one in control. I have control. And I'm the only one in control. And I need to be in control. I have to be in control. Because no one else is going to be in control for me. So, I'm glad I had that. I'm glad I developed that concept and that philosophy, and that I approached my 20s that way. But I'm glad to be in my 20s where it's a different thing. Sometimes a useful concept, a useful philosophy is only useful in a context. In a different context, it can be a pathology. A useful philosophy is only useful in a specific context or in several specific contexts. But at some point, you can lock into a specific philosophy or approach, a lens, and it becomes a pathology. So, or it can be. I think you got to keep moving. You got to be flexible. And there's nothing more flexible than accepting and realizing that you don't have any control. Letting go. That's the ultimate flexibility. The second thing I do is I retain my presence. I remove, intentionally try to cut away things that are rooted in the past or the future. This is a kind of meditation, but it's not as serious. I don't necessarily have to close my eyes or be in solitude for this. I can do this in a room full of people and just kind of be present and accept that whatever happens is good and that I'm good. The third thing is my narrative is not the only narrative. The focus here is on linguistics and words. Understanding the power of words. Understanding the power of sentences and labels. Understanding that we only see our root ideas of selves and our root stories we see. And we play out our root identities. Narrative identities. And so my narrative is not the only narrative. When you forgive someone, you realize that narratives can switch and feelings can change based on a narrative. Forgiving someone doesn't mean that the thing changed, the event, the thing that caused the friction occurred. Those things, the repercussions persist. What changes is your story. Your story says, I forgive you. Your story says this is no longer, I'm no longer attached to this. This is the past. And sometimes you find that your narrative was the reason you were all bent out of shape. Your narrative was incomplete. You didn't have a full thing. So there's more going on. We don't know. So reserve judgment, reserve anxiety, Seek perspective is the fourth one. Seek perspective, yo. It's more of the narrative thing. I'm not the only narrative. Sometimes I've gotten better at just like accepting that. I don't necessarily need another narrative. But I am lucky enough that I have a trusted voice. Voices, particularly voice, my wife, get another perspective, yo. That really helps. And then the last thing is meditation, which is just kind of a more grounded and intentional version of everything prior, where all the other stuff goes down in a space of solitude and quiet and intentional calm. That's it. Those are the 5 things I do to handle some anxiety. What I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna take some breathing and relax. Breathing in with the nose. I actually feel this filling up my stomach. One time I took a breathwork class a couple of years back. It was an hour-long breathwork class. It was very specific breathing. It was like short breaths and long breaths, consistent short breaths and long breaths for 40 minutes, I think. And it was wild. It was over Zoom. Me and Sheba on the laptop. It was like a Zoom call. It was like 30 people on a Zoom call. And you could see some faces. And I'll tell you what, breathing with that kind of intention, that kind of regularity for that length, that kind of intensity produced some crazy emotions, yo. I ended up crying. Ended up really like having an experience. It was wild. We just don't know what our bodies can do, yo. We don't know what our bodies do. We underestimate. We've been told a story that deeply undersells what our bodies can do, what our bodies are tapping into, what this experience is. And because the story we've been told, the narrative we've been told is so underwhelming about us and about our potential and about our purpose, we live up to it. We live up to that story. We hold on to fears that we need not hold on to. And we don't necessarily tap into our fullest expression. We don't experience as fully and broadly as we could. So most of us have no clue even that this is something possible. And there is such a positive language around this. It's like an unknown unknown, How do you talk about unknown unknowns? You can't. You try to. You talk with other people who can understand. And you come up with language together. But life is wild. And I hope everybody's doing well and able to navigate this crazy thing. And I hope some of these tips are helpful for you with anxiety, yo. That's the episode. Appreciate it. Honesty and empathy. Check me out. I think I'm gonna get on here more. Like I keep saying this too. How many episodes do I go? All right, I think I'm gonna get on here more often, guys. And then you don't hear from me for weeks. But honestly, with the episode I did yesterday, I realized I just want to get more practice and get on. So I'm gonna be finding reasons to get on. Okay. Even for a couple of minutes. This has been 35. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace. Love.